Okay, yeah, closer.
Fine.
All right, it's recording. Just big. It's recording.
It's good. Erev Tov, everyone. One of the great lessons that the Mishkan teaches us lies in the fact that many aspects of the Mishkan were alpines. They were miraculous. Rashi points out, quoting Midrashim and the Gemara, that, for instance, the beams, the cedar beams that supported the courtyard were so heavy that you couldn't lift them. And yet it will say, Vayoka Moshe Samishka. Moshe by himself was able to raise them and hold them up. Rashi points out that's something that a human being cannot do, except that it was Nisim. We will see when the Torah discusses for us the building of the menorah, the creation of the great candelabra. So it had to be Mikshav Zohavi. It was made out of one piece of gold. And it had all of these things, the cups and the flowers and the buttons, and there's no human being that could make that out of one piece of gold. You can make it and then, so to speak, attach them, add them. So the menorah was a miracle. Chazal tell us the Aron Kodesh was a miracle. In many respects, we have the same thing as the beams. It says, Oron no sayas nosov. The Oron carried those who carried it, the Bnei Kahos, that were supposed to carry the Oron on their shoulders. Kosef Yisol, gold is very, very heavy. I remember the first time that I was in South Africa, so my wife and I, we went on a tour of the gold mines in Johannesburg. And at the end, after they show you, it's really a frightening thing, the Nafsho Yovi Lachmo. But at the end, they have a discussion. Man tells you all about gold mining and all about gold, etc. And there's a bar of gold on the table. And the bar of gold is worth, I don't know what it is today. It's worth a lot of money. And he says, anybody that can pick up this bar of gold, it belongs to you. And there were tens of people, some of them really strapping, strong people. Nobody could, naturally nobody could do it because it's too dense, it's too heavy. So imagine the Aron Kodesh was 2 boxes of gold, pure gold, with a box of cedar wood in between. And then you had the kaporas, the cover on top, which also made out of gold. Who could carry such a thing? Who could lift it? So Zora no say is no so. It had the quality of being miraculous. So the question arises in all of these artifacts of the Mishkan, if we are relying on miracles, on extraordinary things, like it says, "Va'anoshim tovu esoizim." The women used their talents to weave the tapestries from goat skins while the hair was still on the goat. How does that work? We're in Shabbos. So it's kulanes, the whole thing. So if it was kulanes, then why what does the Ribono Shalom tell them? Collect the money and get the tzalel and bring Aliyah and bring the women and so it has to be miraculous anyway. So let's have the whole thing should have descended as a miracle. It's all l'mayla min hateva. So all the Meforshim point out that is one of the great lessons of the Mishkan, is that human participation in the Nes is always necessary. We saw that by Yam Suf. Ma titzaku elai. You can't get out of Yam Suf without the Ribono Shalom making a miracle. We know that. But said, "Daber b'nei Yisrael v'Yisrael." Tell them to go in. If they'll do theirs, then nisim occur. And therefore, the entire Mishkan is that. You have to do yours. You have to build the Mishkan. There are things that it just won't work. Then I'll help you. It'll work. But we're not going to have a Mishkan without human participation. So I discussed yesterday with you the different opinions about the Bayit Shlishi. That Rashi is of the opinion that the Bayit Shlishi is sent from heaven. Bachar Yiboneh HaMikdash. And the Meiri's opinion, it's probably the opinion of the Rambam as well, is that the Bayit Shlishi is a man-made structure. It have to be built by human beings. So the commentators want to understand why the Meiri and the Rambam insist that it'll be built by human beings. So they say that we derive that from what happened with the Mishkan and from the Bayis Rishon and the Bayis Sheni. That was human participation. It did not occur without human beings doing their part. You have to do your part. So Bnei Shalom promises to do his part. But to rely completely on miracles, you're not going to have a Mishkan. So that was their shita, that you won't have a Bayis Shlishi either. If you depend completely, you do yours, right? And I remember once when I was much younger, and I was a much more aggressive rabbi than I am today. You're seeing a much mellower person. So I remember that we were in the midst of raising funds for a very important project in the community. And it was going very slowly. And we needed, sometimes you need one big donor to push it. And so I went to the person whom I thought would be the big donor, and I explained the project to him. And I told him how important it would be and what a schus it would be for his family, for his name, his legacy. And the man said, yeah, I don't know, Rabbi. There, but I know that you came. I'm not going to let you go out empty-handed. And he wrote out a check for a rather small amount. So I guess he noticed that I had a flash of disappointment for a moment. So he said to me, Rabbi, don't worry, God will help. And I said to him, listen, that's my speech, not yours. Rabbis tell you God will help. You write checks. Don't tell me God will help. And that's the whole message of the Mishka in every aspect of life. The daughter of Paro saves Moshe Rabbeinu because she stretches out her hand. Her hand is not long enough to reach the baby. But if she stretched out her hand, then the hand becomes long enough somehow. That's the whole experience that we have here in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael, certainly over the last 100 years, is Kulo Nisim. Every minute here is a nest. Without people doing things, it's won't happen. And that's such a vital lesson. So that we have ultimate faith, that the Rabbanu Shalom will certainly help us. And he'll do nisim for us. But the Ness of Purim, we're in Adar Aleph, the Ness of Purim is because Esther and Mordechai did what they had to do. So then there was a Ness. And the Ness of Chanukah is the Chashmonoim did what they had to do. So that's one of the main lessons to take away from the Mishkan, is that the Mishkan is going to be full of nisim. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to lift that wood or to lift the gold. I mean, you're not and make a menorah. You're not going to be able to do it. But you have to do yours, and then you'll see. You'll see that the gold will become a menorah, and that the Aron will carry those who carry it. And that's why it says, "V'yosuli mikdash v'shachanti b'socham." They have to make the mikdash for me, and then I'll come. If you have an honored guest, so and he's going to sleep in your guest bedroom, so you make certain that the bed is made and the blanket is there and everything is ready. It's not Achnasas Horchim say, okay, you can sleep in this room, make your own bed. You only do that to your mother-in-law, but otherwise, it's not nice. But we treat the Rabbanu Shalom the same way too. We have to prepare, and then Baruch Hashem, the guest arrives. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Omer Ratzak Kodesh Baruch Hu V'Zakos Yisrael. L'ficha chirba lahem Torah mitzvos shenemar Adonai chafetz aman tzidko yagdil Torah